What's going on YouTube? It's the Game Zombie here with an all new video on Mortal Kombat 11. So unless you've been living on a different planet or living under a rock, I'm sure you've all heard or seen the Mortal Kombat 11 roster leaks that have surfaced in the last couple of days. Now, if you just woke up from your coma and aren't sure what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the leaked images of the entire MK11 roster seen in the character select screen, as well as screenshots of unannounced characters in the character customization menu. These images seem to have been leaked by either a NRS employee or someone who had access to the NRS office, because these photos clearly are low resolution and seem to have been taken rather hastily. Regardless, they seem legit, and honestly, it was such a massive leak that I didn't believe it when I first saw the character select screen, but after seeing the character customization images, I was convinced. After doing a bit of research, I concluded that the leak was the real deal, and in fact, retracted my statement about the character customization image being doctored and concluded that they were indeed legit. And with that being said, there are some fake images going around online too, and one of them actually fooled me. There's a really shitty image of Shinnok circulating and another image of this predator alien hybrid-like creature, and after really looking at them, you could tell they're fake as shit, especially the Shinnok one. It's just really bad editing, and the original poster could actually be found on Instagram. That being said, you really have to be careful these days because there's just so much bullshit and fake news online. You really almost can't even believe anything you hear or see on the internet. So after I realized this massive leak was real, like so many others, I was immediately drawn to two characters specifically. These two characters have never been seen before in the Mortal Kombat universe, and so of course they drew my attention. These characters look like they're straight out of a James Cameron movie. Now, what characters am I talking about, you ask? Well, the Kollector and Cetrion, of course. So after doing some digging and weeding through all the bullshit, I decided to make a video on just who exactly these new characters are, or who they might be. So real quick, I just wanted to say that all the information provided is purely educated theory at this point, and nothing, and I mean nothing, is 100% confirmed until the game is actually in our hands. So please take all this information with a grain of salt. That being said, let's get into it. So let's start off with the Kollector. So as you probably all know, the Kollector was originally leaked by me back in early January in a leaked roster video, and I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. Now, despite knowing the Kollector's name, little else was known about the character at the time. And up until last week, I highly suspected that the Kollector was actually just a code name for another character in the Mortal Kombat universe, if for nothing else, just because the name is so ridiculous. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm still having a hard time believing that NRS decided that it was a good idea to name a character that. Like seriously, was everybody just drunk that day? What happened? Well, little did I know that my roster video would set forth a chain of events that would lead to much speculation and rumor. A butterfly effect of sorts. So a couple of weeks after I uploaded my video, a ton of threads and forums popped up discussing the video and its contents. One in particular would be much more significant than the rest. So over at GameFAQs, multiple threads were started discussing my video, and while most of the comments in these threads were just people speculating or making wild and outlandish claims or statements, two people would come forward with some extremely relevant information with details no one publicly knew at the time. A user by the name of Roar and a user by the name of Art Jedi, whose account is now deleted by the way, posted something extremely intriguing. On the subject of the Kollector, he said, "The Kollector is a real character. He's somewhat of a twist of a new character that debuted in Mortal Kombat 3. Now, seeing as how there was only one new type of character or race, excluding Motaro, it was easy to conclude that he was referring to cyborgs, as both Sector and Cyrax were introduced in Mortal Kombat 3. With that being said, people immediately started theorizing that the Kollector had to be some type of cyborg of sorts. Now, the user also said, in regards to my roster video, a couple of those listed are false. He is missing one of the other new ones. Now, at this point, this was extremely vague and the comment didn't make much sense. Missing a new character? What does that even mean? But obviously, we know now just what that means. But prior to the Steam trophy leak, we didn't have a clue. So, since this information has surfaced, much speculation has been swirling around regarding the Kollector. But the strongest theory suggests that the Kollector is a blue, monster-like being with elfish features, a cybernetic body, and 4 arms in which wield multiple weapons. As the newest edition of the Cyber Initiative, he was modeled after some of the Netherrealm's fiercest warriors, the Shokan. Now, in the image from the leaked character select screen, we can clearly see that the Kollector is indeed blue and is sporting elfish-like features, but we really can't see below his neck, so it's hard to determine if he really indeed does have a cybernetic body or 4 arms, if any for that matter. So now that we've learned a little about the Kollector, we can move on to the other newest character in the MK universe, Cetrion. Much like the Kollector, Cetrion is blue in color and appears to be female. Now, in the same GameFAQs thread, the member Roar also conveniently shared some information regarding Cetrion. Back then, she was still known as CET from the Steam Achievement League. In this comment, Roar goes on to describe her as a brand new female monsterish character. Now, here's where things get interesting. Jedi, somebody who also supposedly had inside information, responded to Roar's comment and claimed that him and Roar have the same source, and while Roar has been correct about most things that he stated, he did get a couple of things wrong. He went on to say that calling Cetrion monstrous was a mistake, and states that she's quite the opposite and actually more angelic. Now, there has been a long-running rumor that the mysterious figure seen in Jade's Mortal Kombat 9 story ending is someone tied to Mortal Kombat 11. But to this day, there is still little to no evidence backing up this theory. Now, it's actually long been suspected that this character and Kronika are actually one and the same, but after the leaked image of Cetrion surfaced, people started suggesting that she in fact was the one that's the mystery being. Now, I will say I could see this being true, as both characters are female and blue, and in Jay's ending, it is said that she had been observing for millennia, alluding to the possibility that this character might be godlike and possess power over both space and time. Another rumor is that Kronika is somehow the mother of both Shinnok and Cetrion. Now, the theory goes that Kronika was the first sentient being ever created, and thus spawning the Elder Gods as her children. Shinnok being a fallen Elder God, it is assumed that Cetrion will be a god as well, or have godlike power, and as the leak suggests, be more on the side of good, opposing her mother in a favor of free will and life. Honestly, with the whole Kombat Kids thing, I could really go either way with this theory. On one hand, it seems completely outlandish and ridiculous, and on the other hand, I could totally see NRS pulling some shit like this off and making it completely make sense. With all that being said, it looks like we have a lot of stuff to look forward to when it comes to MK11. It seems like this game is shaping up to be NetherRealm Studios' most ambitious game yet, and that's just based off the stuff that we know about and the leaks. There are still plenty of things we don't know about, like new game modes, the crypt, unlockables, gear, the list goes on and on. It totally makes sense now that the studio needed a whole year to get this game finished, and as it stands right now, we're looking at a base roster of 27, 28 if you include Shao Kahn as a pre-order bonus, with even more characters coming in later DLC packs. I know a lot of people are disappointed in the fact that we aren't getting many 3D era characters, and the lack of completely original new characters, but I urge people to wait until the game is released and give it a chance. I personally can't wait for the game to come out and am approaching it with cautious optimism, and I urge all of you to do the same. That being said, what do you guys think about these new characters? Do you plan on maining them? Do you really think that they're related? Is it just me, or does the Kollector sound like General Grievous? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe.